We have many other, shall we say, candidates for impeachable offense in terms of the Constitution of the United States. But this one is the most understandable by the public.
Your view of what the Speaker did tonight?
Well, first of all, I'm grateful and relieved, because I've been very critical of Nancy Pelosi on this show, in my column yesterday. I am so glad that she is finally on board and that somebody in this country has taken charge of holding the president accountable. But it's interesting because when I've talked to people in the past about why she's been so reticent on impeachment, often they've said, the public isn't there. And I think for pro-impeachment people, that's been very frustrating because it's the job of Democratic leaders to lead public opinion rather than follow it. But I do think something changes in that this is a much more, this is something that you can say in a few sentences, right? You don't have to read this incredibly dense report to understand just how corrupt what Trump tried to do is.
Our whole panel stays. Let's listen into Republican leader McCarthy.
Investigate something in the back when you cannot find any reason to impeach this president. This election is over. I realize 2016 did not turn out the way Speaker Pelosi wanted it to happen. But she cannot change the laws of this Congress. She cannot unilaterally decide we're in an impeachment inquiry. What she said today made no difference of what's been going on. It's no different than what Nadler's been trying to do. It's time to put the public before politics. Thank you.
Mr. McCarthy, are you afraid that you're on the wrong side of this?
A brief statement from Leader McCarthy there. Michelle, what we see there is Pelosi has done something big enough that there is a need for the president to call her, for the House minority Republicans to respond, although they didn't say much in content,
right.
As you were saying.
Well, I think it was extremely striking how little they said to actually make an affirmative defense of Trump. And similarly, we had a unanimous vote today in the Senate on a motion to basically, or a resolution saying that they should release this whistleblower's complaint. And so, to be honest, I'm like a little bit flabbergasted by all the Senate Republicans voting in favor of that, and I'm a little unsure about what the strategy is of coming out with such a tepid statement not even in defense of the president, but just as opposing Nancy Pelosi. I mean, it makes me wonder if they assume that something bigger is coming down the pike, but I really just don't know.
So, I think a lot of Democrats are relieved that we're finally at a moment because, as the Republicans are going to try and say, the Democrats are relitigating 2016, and that's not the case. The Democrats are finally saying there are so many egregious acts committed by this president, and he's been aided and abetted by people in his party. This is now something where he's actively moving towards 2020 and possibly trying to...
On such a big news night, I don't want to make light, but I don't remember Joe Biden running in 2016.
That is true.
As I understand it, one of the potential nominees, no one knows what's going to happen, and a member of the Obama administration and a contender to run against Trump is the target of what, if any other citizen would do, could be an illegal campaign international conspiracy.
Right, which is what some of the Democrats were concerned Trump did in 2016 against Hillary Clinton. And we know that Trump pretty much assumes that Biden will be the Democratic nominee. And so his conversations with Ukraine, whether he thinks that, the transcripts will show that he's completely absolved of this or not, are highly problematic.
The whole panel stays. I am learning here, as we are reporting this out, that other Democratic leaders, Clyburn and Steny Hoyer, members of Nancy Pelosi's leadership, have now formally jumped in and endorsed the impeachment probe. Jason Johnson, I think we have a count somewhere that we can put up, but it is a count that has grown quite a bit from just 24 hours ago tonight. Your reaction to what you think it means that Pelosi did, because we haven't heard from you yet, and these other members jumping in.
Well, first, we start with the Republicans. McCarthy basically did like the congressional version of that's it, that's the tweet. Like, he had nothing to say. He just had to put a statement out there because if he didn't, the news story was going to completely overshadow anything Republicans would try to say in the next 24 hours. Ari, what this says to me is something that I've always doubted about Pelosi, but now we know it's true. She can count and she can read a calendar. She obviously has been behind the scenes all along saying, all right, look, I don't have the numbers, but when you see 7 vulnerable Democratic freshmen write an op-ed saying it's time for impeachment, Pelosi has clearly pocketed all the votes that she needs, and now she's rolling us out slowly. Now, the question is simply a matter of, we're not worried about if there's going to be a vote. It's a matter of when the vote is going to happen, and we don't know if that's going to be in January, February, or it could be September of 2020 and force a bunch of vulnerable senators in the Republican side to vote for this president right before an election.
And that's the big question. Did Speaker Pelosi tonight create a irreversible road towards a House floor vote on impeachment? And if so, that appreciably increases the odds that President Trump will become one of the few presidents in history to face impeachment.
Right.
Or did she leave herself an off-ramp? I could say, and I was just talking to my control room, some of it's happening too fast to update our impeachment count. And I can tell you there's been many nights when that hasn't been the case. Tonight, the impeachment count growing so fast that we don't have it up on the screen. But I've got two brand new statements here from Democratic leaders telling us they're jumping in. And so we are now within, Jason, we're within about 40 votes among the Democrats or less to having the constitutionally required majority in the House to impeach the sitting president. That's a big deal.
Thanks for watching. To see more videos, click right here, and subscribe.